All right, another edition of Mortgage Matters with Mike Hobbs. I'm your host, Mike Hobbs, and I'm with Shawn Glen. She's an attorney. Ooh, scary. I have a confession to make in a minute. I'm going to do that and see if I've actually violated some law. She's going to tell me whether the cops are coming here in a minute. But Mike Hobbs, Mortgage Matters, thanks for tuning in. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Spotify. You won't be able to see us. You can hear us. The show's been going on for a couple of months. And we look forward to having you on. I want to give a shout out right now to Chris. Chris is listening. I know he is because he texted me a few minutes ago and said, hey, I'm going to listen to your show. He told me I had a face for radio. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. In fact, I've got an attorney here now, Chris. If you're listening, I got an attorney right here. I'm going to sue for that. That's defamation of character, isn't it, or something?
Unless it's true.
Oh, it might be true. It might be true. My mom says it's not, but Chris is listening. He's the branch manager over at Umpqua Bank. That's my bank. That's where I bank. And love Chris. Thank you for tuning in. Love the group over there on the Sherman Avenue Umpqua Bank. Go in there and say hi to Chris. Tell him Mike sent it, and he will give you a pen, an Umpqua pen for free. Only if you sign up for an account, though, probably. So don't hold me to that. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. You can check us out. It is Christmas time. It's December. So thanks for tuning into the first show in December. I think this is the first show of December. It is. And I am wearing my Christmas, I think it's what is this? It's not a Tommy Bahama. It's a bamboo K. It's like a Tommy Bahama, but it's a bamboo K. I have had this shirt for probably, I want to say 15 years. And I wear it probably 2 or 3 times in December. It gets dry cleaned, gets hermetically sealed, and then I pull it out again in December. So I'm wearing it today. And I think it gives us, at least it does for me. I don't know what it does to you. I don't know if it inspires you, but when you look outside right now, out the window behind us here, there's a lot of white stuff out there.
Yeah. Slippery, bad, not like the white stuff that's there.
No.
Santa under the palm trees.
No, it's really cold here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. You can see us behind us there. There's Lake Coeur d'Alene. And that's right around the corner from us here, and beautiful area. Obviously, we're broadcasting from here at Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, north in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, and I really like Santa there. You know, it's like Melekalikimaka.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah, this just makes me feel warmer. I don't know what it is. So anyway, we got a great show for you. Check us out. I am a home loan officer with Loan Depot. You can see my information down below. There it is, the logo, Loan Depot. I'm a home loan officer. It's 1804310 is my MLS. And I've been doing this 38 years in various stages of the industry, from the real estate side to the escrow, and an escrow company wants to a long time ago, and mortgage lending, real estate mortgage lending, escrow, even a law firm. I was a GM for a law firm. We're going to talk about that a little bit today and some of the things we did there with Shawn, but did that very, very much immersed over the years in everything related to real estate. So tuning in, if you have any questions, you can post those questions. Our producer will grab those and post them up on the screen for us. So we'll see those. We can answer any questions you have live, except for you, Chris. Don't ask any questions. No, I'm kidding. You can ask questions too, Chris. But if you'd like to, go ahead and post those questions. We'll answer them. Hey, let's get into it. A couple things. So we talked about, real estate, mortgages, and the law. Oh my, was the heading for this, or the title for this show. And then we talked about some of the things I wanted Shawn on to talk about, some of the things related to home buyers and or sellers that might be things you don't take into consideration when you're transferring title or you're buying a home, selling a home, in that vein. And I know you had some topics you wanted to discuss. I think one of those was title and home inspections, I think. Talk to us about why you endorse home inspections.
Oh, that's a great question. Thanks, Mike. So in Idaho and in Montana, both of the states where I'm licensed, here's the thing.
Oh, let me interrupt. Hold your thought. I didn't really properly introduce you. So this is Shawn Glen. She's an attorney, and she's licensed in
Idaho and Montana.
And she's with
my own law firm, Glen Law, PLLC.
That's right. She really is an attorney. I just wanted you to know that. Go ahead, continue.
Thank you. Despite how nice I really am, I am a lawyer.
She's mean.
Don't cross me. Anyway, in Montana and Idaho, both of those states are buyer beware states, caveat emptor. So a lot of people who've been coming into these states in the last several years where they've been wanting to move from places where perhaps they don't like what's going on there and they want to come to us. That's great. But they expect different things than what is the actual reality here. Here, our reality is you buy the house, you take it as is. So there are some things that people who are coming here from other states don't really know and don't really think about. One of them is home inspections, Mike. So important. Every home purchaser gets the opportunity to have a home inspection. And I sincerely hope that if you're a buyer, you will never, ever waive that. And then I really hope that since you're paying for it, that you will actually look at it and see what it says, because
And understand it.
Yeah, understand what you're buying.
It's really a know before you close.
Oh, absolutely. Because you do have the opportunity as a buyer to reserve some rights to yourself in your buy-sell agreement. And one of those rights is, if you don't like what the home inspection says, you can negotiate, which means either back out of the contract, you can have require the seller to fix it, you can negotiate a different rate or a different price. So many options. But if you don't know what the options are and you don't take advantage of it, it can spell financial disaster for yourself and your family.
We had Chris Latte on from Home at Last Inspections here a few weeks ago. So you tuned into that. And you can also find previous shows on the YouTube channel, which is itsmortgagemadness.com. You can find us there, and you can look at past shows. You can also go onto Spotify and listen to past shows while you're driving or whatever you're doing. And Chris was on a few weeks ago. We were talking about that, and he's a home inspector and how important it is. One of the things that I advocate under the auspices of a program that I teach to real estate agents, which is Agent Superstar. Mm-hmm. And it's a way of standing out and being different, being memorable. And it's also about promise, deliver, stand out is really what it stands for. And one of those things is I advocate getting a pre-home inspection. The seller pay for that, and or the agent. Mine is I advocate the agent do it under the modality of this Agent Superstar. And I have one right now that's selling in California that we're doing just that. I'm the CMO on it. I'm not licensed. I'm licensed there, but I'm not active in California. But the client called me, the seller, and said, "Hey, can you help me out?" So I stepped into the position of the chief marketing officer for it, and we implemented this program under Agent Superstar. And one of those was to have that home inspection. So an offer is in today that I'll be reviewing with the client, and that offer is non-contingent on the inspection. Guess why? Guess why?
Because the inspection was spot on.
And it was done. And it's there for them. And they had it. So before they wrote the offer, they had the home inspection. Because California is also, as Montana and Idaho are, is buyer beware, as is state.
I think, though, on that note, there are vastly more protections for a buyer in California than there are for a buyer in Idaho and Montana. Once you've closed that sale.
Yeah. California contracts like are different than Idaho. I can't speak to the Washington. I don't know that contract as well, though I lend in Washington, California, and Idaho. I just, I unless an agent asks me, I don't dig into the nitty gritty of the contracts because it's not my job. I'm a loan officer and not a real estate agent. But the contracts in California are proactive removal of contingencies. Mm-hmm. And here in Idaho, they're passive removal of contingencies, which is weighted towards the seller, because as a buyer, if you don't respond by that date on, hey, I'm okay with these inspection issues, I'm okay with whatever you need, you've
waived them.
You've waived them. They're done. You're done. You didn't do anything. So it's passive. In California, it's proactive. You didn't used to be that way. So it switched over and it made it more a seller's contract or a buyer's contract than it did a seller's contract. Here, it's more of a seller's contract in Idaho.
Absolutely.
And it's a buyer's contract because of that non-passive. It's an active removal of contingencies. So you have to know that. And I think that's a scary thing, to be honest with you, because as a buyer, if you don't respond on that date in some form or fashion, it's deemed waived.
Absolutely. And there's no going back. You cannot paddle that boat back upstream.
You're in contract. So that's one of the things to look out for. So home inspections, that's a good one. Another one you were going to talk about, I think, Shawn, is you wanted to talk about some title issues and things like that,
Right.
because those are complex documents. I mean, frankly, if
Mhm.
people don't buy homes all the time, and so you don't see these things. Shawn, these things come across your desk all the time.
Yeah.
They come across my desk all the time. I've seen thousands of them. You as a home buyer and even a seller, you're not used to seeing this. And so where do you go to look, and how do you know for sure? So title is a very complex thing, and it's not
Right.
really written in English, is it?
It's like lawyerese, except for title people.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But a good portion of that, a reason of that is because of the way that they used to measure land. So,
Oh.
it was called meets and bounds. It was like, you didn't want to get there.
The rock, and then you follow the stream to the tree. That's your
no.
boundary line.
Oh no, chains.
Chains.
They would do chains.
But streams and rocks and windmills. Well, the problem is the windmill burns down, or the stream changes direction over time, and all of a sudden your property line shifts. It was a mess.
Oh yeah.
They still do those in some parts of the country. You'll pull up title, and you'll find meets and bounds as defining property lines.
Right. Well, here in Idaho, one of the things, and in Montana as well, one of the things that I really strongly advise people to do that, again, wasn't happening 2 and 3 years ago when the market was really hot, was people were not going to the places that they were looking at buying and asking questions. You tell me, Mike, you want to sell me this property, and you say it's this big, but how come there's that fence right there? See that road that's coming? Who uses that road?
Oh, I had one like that fell out because when they did get up here, they were under contract, but were within their contingency time. They found out that there was an auto repair shop next door. It was hidden by the trees and things like that. It was disclosed, but it wasn't. Telling you something and then seeing it are two different things.
Absolutely.
And so they backed out of the transaction. And so reading the title, understanding the title report and understanding what they are is really important. And to your point, when we were in the market we were in the country a couple of years ago, a year ago, for the 2 years prior to that, people were writing without seeing, and they were also buying without unseen.
Yeah.
They were also waiving their inspection contingency, which the home inspection falls under that category. So they weren't, because they were trying to be competitive. And so, I don't know, the industry got into some bad habits.
They did. And I think that there was such a frenzy that, real estate agents didn't have the bandwidth to handle all of the sellers. So they could just say, well, buyer, just take the highest price. Yeah. And that's another thing that I've found too, in Idaho and Montana, real estate agents, while many of them have a heart for their clients, most of them statutorily, they don't have a fiduciary duty.
But they should.
They should, but you can't really legislate ethics.
No, you can't.
So.
And which ethic?
Right.
Bunch of them.
Right.
But you're right.
So, the thing is, I think the point of the whole thing is that there are certain protections that are important protections for buyers and for sellers. I mean, if you really want to have your price be met at the level that you need, be proactive.
You know what? I'm going to jump in here. One of the things, and the reason I have Shawn on, I've worked with Shawn before. I've seen her in action. I think she's great. And I had a law firm, not mine. You're clear. I got an attorney here. I'll get in trouble. Well, in my law firm, I'm not an attorney. I play one on TV, but I'm not an attorney. And I was the GM of a law firm, Lewan Law. Hi, Antoinette. If you're out there, Antoinette Lewan. She's a retired judge from LA County. And I talked her into, let me recall like it is, Antoinette. I talked you into starting a law firm. And we had a great run with that, about 7 years, maybe about 6, 7 years. And we had a great run. So I was a GM, and the construct was mine. And so it was really great. We helped consumers out. But I'm going to say this. I think that if you're buying a home or even selling a home, I really think it's a good thing to meet with somebody that's experienced. And I'm going to advocate Shawn. I think Shawn is reasonable. I think she's knowledgeable. She's incredibly, she's a detective. She's dogged. And I think that you need someone like that in your corner. Not to say, look, I support agents. I have a mentoring program for agents. I've supported my referral partners all my career, 38 years. I love real estate agents, and I want to see them grow. But it's always nice. And I think the 101A too, Shawn, with brokerages is they tell their agents, look, don't give any legal advice.
Right.
Don't give any tax advice. It's okay. So they're already prepared for you as a seller or a buyer to say, hey, I'd like to speak to an attorney, just to make sure. If you have to go over the title report, the title officers are also very good. But it's also nice for the amount of money you spend to meet with Shawn and have that hour consultation. It's just peace of mind. It's not worth doing.
Absolutely.
In my opinion. So we're going to run Shawn's information across there. It's on the bottom. You see it on the ticker tape, and you can reach out to Shawn. So her phone number is 208-699-0387. Did I say that right?
You did say all of the numbers right.
I don't even have my glasses on. I'm so blind. It's not even funny. I can barely see it. Who are you? I can't see you.
Well, someday curiosity will overcome vanity, and you'll put the glasses back on.
I know
Mike.
that will. I'm not going to do it. I'm not. I just kind of squint. I make those muscles work that have been broken for a long time.
Build up muscles.
That's right. So I think it's worthwhile. In fact, in my program for agents, I have a program, or part of the program recommends and says that you should have Shawn and or an attorney, whatever area of the country you're in, that's on call for you as an agent, for your clients, for your listing client, for your seller, for your buyer. I think it's great to have that. It takes some of the responsibility off of you as an agent. And it also puts, speaking to you as a buyer or seller, puts you in a position where you're actually talking to somebody of authority, true authority, that's not already built into the mantra, or I should say into the modality of how they operate in real estate, which is, hey, don't give any tax advice. The brokerages to the agent. Don't give any tax advice. Don't give any legal advice. So you can get the legal advice here from Shawn. You can reach her at 208-699-0387. You can reach her there.
Absolutely.
One of the title issues I had, which is one that's interesting, is clients of mine bought the home. They were told, and it was disclosed, that they had a shared well on another property. Now we're in, the Pacific Northwest, North Idaho, and so you see wells. Other parts of the country, you may not see wells. Where I'm from in California, we didn't have wells. But with a well, it was on the other property.
Right.
And there was also an easement or a road easement that weren't sure that was also on the other person's property. And when they moved in, the other owner, the owner of the parcel next to them, wanted them to cut a road in and get rid of this. And that all depends on how long it's been going on and whether it was only granted for the previous owner,
right,
whether it transfers over. I mean, there's also things. So all sorts of things to look at. So these buyers didn't have anybody to really help them do that. And they were working with a really young real estate agent. He and I got into it a little bit. It started out with him saying, we don't like working with anybody that's not, local. I can lend in Montana at the time. So anyway, long story short is they didn't get the advice. They didn't get the help. If they'd reached out to Shawn, she would have been able to look at those things. So the well is a problem.
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't have water, you are sunk.
Yeah. You can't keep your voice.
In singing mode.
In singing mode. It's nothing else but talking mode. That was water, by the way. That's all it was. But it's important to be able to understand your title report.
Absolutely.
And, title officers are great. So it's a good resource, but having that peace of mind through an attorney like Shawn, I think it's really good to do.
And if I could, one of the important things to do with that is to make sure that you're actually either how to read the actual instruments, which is the word that we use for documents that have been recorded at the county clerk and recorder. Not the drums.
Oh, not drumming? Okay.
Not the horns. It's the instruments that are recorded. But knowing how to read them, knowing what they say, and knowing how that affects your property or the other person's property. So super, super important.
I'm putting my glasses on.
Makes you look so smart.
I know, doesn't it? Yeah, look smart. That's the operative word. I look smart. So I think that's great. And again, you can reach out to Shawn. Give your number again, will you, Shawn, for people?
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike. It's 1-208-699-0387. 0387.
And she's licensed in Idaho
And the great state of Montana.
So if you're buying in those two states, give her a call and
Absolutely.
she can take care of that. I wanted to also talk about, it's Christmas time. We were joking about this, making us feel warm because we're in a cold state right now.
It's not cold. No such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing.
I'm sorry. It's freezing. Did I say cold? I meant it's freaking freezing in Idaho right now. So, and this California boys become acclimated. So I did walk in with nothing but the shirt on. But I wanted to say that it's the season for giving. It's Christmas time. It's, it's holiday. Think about your fellow person, your family, hug them a little tighter. I was working with an agent today in California, and we were talking, and before we started talking about the contract, she told me about the passing of someone that I know and I've worked with, and he was a client of our law firm years ago, and he's a real estate agent. I remember he was transitioning into the business out of the auto industry years ago, 10, 15 years ago. He passed away this morning.
I'm so sorry.
Cancer, at 57 or 56. Too early, too soon. Great guy. Had a real great presence online. He was just a big-hearted, great guy. Robert O. I'm not going to say his full name, but Robert O. You know who you are. And he went by Robert O. But those are the kind of things that make me think about how, dear life is and how fragile it really can be. So this time of year, let's hug each other a little bit more. Let's say I'm sorry a little more often. Let's count to 10 faster than we usually do, and just enjoy one another. So hugs and love, I think that's a good theme. And, God love Robert, and wish the condolences and, just prayers to his family. So
absolutely.
I want to say that.
Yep.
Let's talk about, let's move on. We're going to wrap up here in a second. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap?
Just on that note, Mike, I just really think it's important that we remember that our words matter. Our physical touch matters. We all matter. And make sure that what's coming out of your mouth is going to be building somebody up and not tearing them down. Put a guard over your lips if you have to, because sticks and stones break your bones, but words always hurt. Or they just build up. So use your words.
Yeah,
use your words.
That's right. And with that said, now it's time for our segment of What's Up With That, where I rant a little bit and really point something out at somebody and call them out. I'm not going to hug them. So this is the non-hugging portion of the show. Great segue, by the way.
Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Yeah,
she didn't even know that was coming.
I had no idea.
So my rant today is Verizon. Look, I moved over to AT&T, got sold when I'm standing in line at the supermarket, and they said, hey, it's going to be easy, blah, blah, blah. And I did it. And it was pretty easy to do that, and traded in my phones, and I had a bill to pay. But once you do that, so here's my rant. If you change providers, just make sure that you know your password, your little code, and like I say, I look smart with the glasses on, but I'm not that smart. So once you shut it down and they pour your numbers over, you can't get into your account. You can't pay your bill. They won't even talk to you. So the other night when it was freezing, I'm out driving around from Verizon store to Verizon store, because even though they said on the phone, you have to go to Verizon store, we can't help you. And I just wanted to pay my bill. And, that was it. I couldn't pay the bill. And so I drove around, and they finally said, oh, you have to go to the corporate store. It's a corporate store. They don't look any different. There's not like corporate Verizon. It's just like a Verizon. So I had to go in there, and they were finally able to pull it up and take my credit card and get me paid and go from there. So my rant today is, man, make sure it's just not easy. They make it sound like, hey, it'll be sweet and it's no big deal, but it's not. So just be prepared that you got all your stuff when you shut down, you port everything over, because once you port them, you're out of their system and you are bye-bye. See you later.
Well, what a testament to your perseverance and your integrity to want to pay your bill, Mike.
I did. I wanted to pay the bill.
You.
Yeah, it was a big bill too, because I got a phone in there that was brand new that I got, so I had to pay that off right away. I didn't get that 1 year free thing going on. But anyway, so that's it. You've been listening to Mortgage Madness with Mike Hobbs, and my guest today is Shawn Glen. She's an attorney. She's licensed in Idaho and Montana, and she's great. And her number again is quick.
Not 1-800 208 699-0387. Would
The-
love to help you.
The theme is give her a call for anything. She's really great. She's got a great affect, and she's very knowledgeable, and she's also very knowledgeable about real estate matters. So that's really what to do.
Excellent.
I have her in my program. So anybody locally that needs an attorney, call me. You can reach out to me. You can reach me at the numbers that are floating by on the bottom of the screen there. We're going to flip those up, put me back on there. You can reach me at those numbers at the bottom. There I am. And I'm always available, and I will refer you to Shawn if you don't know how to get a hold of her directly. Again, thanks for listening to Mortgage Madness with Mike Hobbs and Shawn Glen today. And everybody have a wonderful holiday season. There'll be a couple more shows going on, I think,
Awesome.
by the end of the year. And I hope to have Shawn back. Will you come on again sometime?
Absolutely. This is so much fun. Only if I get to wear a cool shirt like yours.
We'll get you a cool shirt. I'll have to have one of those made up. A Loan Depot cool shirt,
Ooh,
something like that.
Green and purple.
Yeah.
Ah.
Okay. Give me a call if you need anything related to mortgage help. There's some really cool programs out there going on right now that make buying affordable. I do have the Buyer Benefits Bundle, which is a program that I put together. You can see that with the lights hitting it, but Buyer Benefits Bundle, which is really great. And that makes buying affordable and selling more efficient. So go ahead and give me a call there if you want. But again, we're going to sign off and say goodbye. Roll that exit. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.